In today's video, I'm gonna finally be reacting to Sloan, I believe that's his name's video about Aaliyah, titled "The Truth Behind Aaliyah's Sketchy Murder." So without further more to say, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your bell post notifications so that you'll be notified every time I drop a video. Before we get into today's video, I do want to read off a few comments. I don't know if I read this comment already, but if I did, I'm gonna do it again. I don't mind. This person just said, "Interesting video. Love from Germany. Crazy. You never thought you had viewers from other countries? Well, greetings from the UK. Southwest England to be precise. Wow, welcome." That's crazy. I don't even have the words. But anyways, shout out to you guys. It's definitely amazing to hear that you guys are from different parts of the world. It is amazing to know that. I definitely thought that my were only in the US. I don't know why, but that's just what I thought. Clearly, I have supporters from everywhere. Like, that's crazy. Welcome. This has been a long-awaited video, and people keep mentioning it, so we're gonna check it out finally. For the longest time, I always thought his name was Slogan. I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but I don't know why I thought his name was that. Anyways, let's get into this video. So many people have told me to react to this, and I'm finally doing it.
The plane, just after taking off for Florida in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Along with 8 passengers, Aaliyah, a young Brooklyn native and a talented singer and actress.
Shockingly, this pilot was not certified to fly the ill-fated plane.
Barry, when Aaliyah died for a wrongful death, he got paid $90 million for her death.
They killed her! And that's what I've been saying. They killed her!
There is no doubt in my mind that Aaliyah was murdered by her own team. Why did Hype Williams move her music video shoot from Miami to the Bahamas, where she ultimately died from an accidental plane crash, which should have never been an accident in the first place, because Lenny Kravitz sent a private plane to Aaliyah, which Hype Williams took from her. And of course, her abusive uncle, Barry Hankerson, took no blame for this accident, because he went to the court and told them 4 days before they went to the Bahamas that if anyone were to get hurt, that he doesn't want to be held liable. He wants to take zero responsibility. So we've got a bunch of sketchy men who are organizing a music video shoot to take place in the Bahamas without valid transportation. The plane that Aaliyah died in wasn't even made for passengers. It was a cargo plane. The pilot was on cocaine and alcohol, and Aaliyah wasn't even conscious when she was brought onto the plane. So who is at fault here? Because Aaliyah deserves justice. So let's get into it.
That's scary to even think that she was not conscious while getting on a plane, on her worst fear. Like, I wonder if she ever woke up. I really would like to know that. I would hope she didn't. Imagine if she didn't wake up. You never wake back up. That's so scary.
So on August 25th, 2001, we lost Aaliyah in a plane crash, which was deemed an accident, but I believe that her death was a wrongful death because this plane accident wasn't an accident at all. So Aaliyah was traveling, filming a music video when she passed away. This man, Hype Williams, actually moved the shoot to the Bahamas when they were already filming in Miami and using a green screen. plane. Some people believe that this was a ploy to get Aaliyah traveling on her own because she's usually with her brother or her mother while she's traveling to shoot, so they could get her to the Bahamas and avoid the additional family members. This man, Hype Williams, is also connected to another artist named Left Eye, passed away in Honduras when they were on a trip together. So there's something going on with this Hype Williams fellow.
But what I was really more tight about was that I had heard that Lenny Kravitz had offered her a jet and then Hype had took the jet. So that's what really pissed me off about the situation when I heard about that. So we need to ask Hype about that.
That's what, have you ever talked to Hype about it?
Yeah.
And how did that conversation go?
Ask him.
But I also asking you.
Yeah, but ask him.
I feel like you had some things to say.
So Aaliyah was working with a choreographer named Fatima, which I'm sorry if I mispronounce her name. I listened to about 5 different ways to pronounce this name, and it seems to be Fatima. So Fatima claims that Aaliyah got a phone call stating that Dame was in an accident, which prompted her to leave. At this point, she was dating this man, and she was probably...
He said Fatima or something like that. I didn't even know what he was saying. It's Fatima, I believe. Fatima Robinson. He should have just said Miss Robinson or Mrs. if she's married.
Probably concerned about her boyfriend, so she headed out. But after a warning that the plane was too heavy, she became extremely nervous and didn't want to get on the flight. People had claimed that she was drugged and carried on. This is something we talked about in a previous video, that Aaliyah was supposedly on some type of medication and just like brought onto the plane. Like she wasn't even conscious. Fatma also took a picture of Aaliyah sleeping on the boat, claiming that she looked peaceful and wanted to capture the moment. Fatma would stay behind, claiming that she wanted an extra day on the island, which she was lucky for that one because she ultimately saved her life. But did she know something that we didn't know? When Aaliyah was out in the Bahamas shooting her music video, Lenny Kravitz actually sent her a private plane, which is very generous. But Hype Williams, the man who moved the shoot out to the Bahamas, took this plane, which is really convenient for him. But
what I want to know is that everyone is like, I know it's Hype Williams' fault, like the blame should completely be on him and the uncle and a little bit on the parents, but why isn't there blame on Lenny Kravitz? Like, how did Hype even know about this plane being sent to Aaliyah? It had to be talks that he was going to do this. He should have just kept it between him and Aaliyah, and maybe she would have got the plane in the first place. If you're sending someone something, maybe you should keep it just close to them, especially if it's something like this. Said that's so wrong. I would really like to ask Lenny Kravitz why he didn't send the plane directly to Aaliyah and how Hype Williams found out about it anyways. And why didn't he speak out about it if he knew that's what happened?
it's pretty suspicious that Lenny ever sent this plane in the first place. And when it comes to the plane that Aaliyah took, why was it available for takeoff if it was too heavy? Who approved for it to leave the runway? And the pilot had cocaine and alcohol in his system and a suspended pilot's license.
2 weeks before the crash, Aaliyah's pilot, Luis Morales, had been on the wrong side of the law when he got arrested for possession of crack cocaine, and got probation after a traffic stop on July 7th revealed traces of cocaine in his car. The autopsy further revealed traces of cocaine and alcohol. Shockingly, this pilot was not certified to fly the ill-fated plane.
Why was he allowed to fly the plane? It seems like everything that could have gone wrong was going wrong, and there was no regulation. It makes you question who's the person who organized this entire thing, which is Hype Williams. But I do want to briefly give a shout out to a couple of the Twitter accounts that I'm pulling from today. I will link them below because I have talked about this crash before and how I believe it's not an accident, and I found additional information I had to cover on my channel. As I mentioned earlier, Hype Williams ultimately moved the shoot to the Bahamas, dramas, and it seemed like he was trying to avoid Aaliyah's family, which her mother and her brother were there for her, but ultimately her family did like sell her off. I want to remind you guys that at some point she was married illegally. Her mother and her brother were there for her, but ultimately her family did like sell her off. I want to remind you guys that at some point she was married illegally to R. Kelly, which we have talked all about their relationship before. It is disgusting what he did to her, and thank God there's been somewhat, justice nowadays. I mean, Aaliyah was mentioned in the court hearings when R. Kelly was in trial, so, I mean, justice was served, but Aaliyah isn't with us, and she wasn't able to see this man go down who ultimately stole her innocence from her.
He told me that they were married, that she was pregnant. The reason they got married was because they felt like if he was married to her, and if he said he thought that she was 18, that he wouldn't be charged if someone found out she was pregnant.
R. Kelly's to blame, and her parents are to blame, because it's like they sold her to him. They had a sexual relationship that started when she was 15 and he was 28. They were married, and it was later annulled because the marriage wasn't even valid in the first place. But it's a really scary story when you look at her first album that he helped to produce, where she's quoted saying, "Age ain't nothing but a number." R. Kelly was harmful to Aaliyah. He took advantage of her, and she left clues behind through her music. Before Aaliyah's passing, she was featured in a film titled Queen of the Damned. This movie had a lot of foreshadowing
I disagree. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't think that song is about R. Kelly.
Of how evil the music industry could be. It also had some hints of her death, but I want to focus a little bit about this evil music industry because it kind of goes hand in hand with her family, because her parents sold her off to R. Kelly, and her uncle was a big part of her music management. Her uncle's name is Barry Hankerson. He's the founder of Blackground Records and ex-husband of Gladys Knight, who she claims that he is evil. He is a known control freak in the music industry, not allowing artists such as JoJo to have rights to their music. He's also had issues with people.
I think that's why he has something to do with her death, because Aaliyah wanted the titles to her music. I bet you that's what it is. He was too strict when it came to Aaliyah. I even heard that he forced her to stay on a diet so that she would keep her frame for the industry. Barry is a really messed up man. I did not know that Gladys Knight has said this about Barry Hankerson. It just helps a lot with the situation. It's another piece to the puzzle. He was a very evil man. It would make sense why it would be fingers pointed at him when it comes to Aaliyah's death. JoJo's situation kind of reflects Aaliyah's situation a bit, but Aaliyah's situation was more on the low, and JoJo's situation was very vibrant and loud. It reminds me exactly of what they put Aaliyah through, or what they could have put Aaliyah through. Blackground Records, Barry Hankerson, they are good for nothing. They are horrible people. And Hype Williams.
Like Tony Braxton. And Tony actually ended up suing Barry for $10 million. This guy's just not a good man. I mean, he continued to work with R. Kelly after the allegations of what R. Kelly did to Aaliyah were already out there. He was the one who introduced Aaliyah to R. Kelly, and it was even rumored that R. Kelly had some type of relationship with Aaliyah's mother, which that is like, if there was some type of relationship between Aaliyah's mother and R. Kelly, it's just another whole other section to this story, which is so messy. Because did the uncle and the mother work together to kind of give off Aaliyah to R. Kelly?
I found Leah. As a matter of fact, Barry Hankerson, my manager, who's her uncle, told me to go up to Detroit and hear her sing. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear her sing because she was growing. I knew she had it. As soon as she started singing, that verified it. And from there, we became here. And everything is all good.
But now I want to go back to this accident and the situation with her uncle, because this man is giving me bad vibes. I feel like him and Hype Williams and Lenny Kravitz all worked together to ultimately destroy Aaliyah. I mean, when Barry spoke about this accident, he wasn't looking for justice.
He is on to what I am on. I literally just said this. Barry Hankerson, Hype Williams, and Lenny Kravitz is just so weird. Like, why didn't Lenny Kravitz make sure the plane got to Aaliyah? Why did Hype Williams take the plane? Why didn't Lenny Kravitz get in his feelings about Hype Williams taking the plane when he actually sent it for Aaliyah? Why couldn't her uncle even just send her a plane? And he is just suspicious. He was signing these papers before she had died and all this bull crap. They took her to the Bahamas where she would be secluded away from her family. For what? Like, I would have saw a red flag. That is just really weird. Something is not right, but it's all coming out. We are literally onto the same thing, but he just puts it better than I do.
I mean, he was quoted saying like, oh, you know, if it wasn't an accident, then let God take care of it. Of course he wants God to take care of it because he doesn't want to be investigated along with these other guys.
If it proves not to be, then the wrath of God will deal with it if it isn't.
You know what, Barry? The wrath of God will deal with you when you reach his gates. But anyways, I want to talk about his role here because remember, he's manager of the year. I mean, he was sued for $10 million. It seems like he's screwed over so many different people. I think this is the most damning thing that I have to show you guys today. So 4 days before they went to the Bahamas for Aaliyah's music video shoot, her uncle and his company Blackground Records went into court and received a some type of demand, some type of waiver to where if there was anything that happened to anyone on set in the Bahamas that they would not be responsible. Ultimately, her uncle went to the court in New York and said, hey, we've got something going on in the Bahamas. If anyone were to get hurt here, how do we protect ourselves and make sure that we can't be sued or be held liable? And ultimately they came up with this, and this was literally created 4 days before they went to the music video shoot. So it seemed like he knew that something was going to happen in the Bahamas, and didn't want his company or anyone to be held accountable. And literally, this complaint brings up the...
Why do you think Diane stopped talking to her own brother? She does not want Barry Hankerson with Aaliyah's music, and I knew it was over something. She knew something was off with her brother, and I knew too. He was the #1 person I was pointing fingers at anyways, but Diane knew something. She doesn't want him profiting off of Aaliyah because he's the reason why Aaliyah is gone. That was your niece. If she was gonna leave you, cool, just get another artist or whatever pissed you off. You should have just let it because it wasn't worth it. And now everything is coming to the light. Barry Hankerson is horrible. I knew Diane knew something because they said she stopped talking to her brother, and I'm just like, well, why? Maybe she knows something.
The fact that if anyone were to die, he would not be at fault. His company would have no damages sustained if someone were to pass away, which seems like a huge waiver to have. Why does his company have this power, and why did they prepare this before this shoot where the main star passes away?
Barry, when Aaliyah died for a wrongful death, he got paid $90 million for her death. Am I supposed to say it on TV? For $90 million for her death.
Was that just for his rights or whatever he owned?
What she would have been able to make if she hadn't died.
Ultimately, this complaint right here, this contract, this situation that he filled out is just in my mind, a confession. This is him pretty much stating that there's going to be something happening at this music video shoot, and we're not going to be held for negligence. So there's a lot of mystery here, and honestly, in my mind, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around it and figure it out. It's hard for me to conceptualize the timeline of how all of this happened, and I feel like there needs to be some deep documentary series into exactly what happened and pulling all the paperwork forward and really investigating Blackground Records for their involvement in this. I mean, I have to include a video clip that I found where pretty much Aaliyah's production stage manager is screaming they killed her. This was back when she passed away, and this person was just out in the crowd claiming that they took her life.
They killed her. And that's what I've been saying. They killed her.
justice ever be served for Aaliyah? Honestly, I don't know. I don't think so, but in some ways, maybe. I mean, I think the situation with R. Kelly is a form of justice, but I would hope that we would understand more about this plane crash before everyone's like passed away, because I do feel like there's something out there that points to who is exactly at fault here. I mean, is it Lenny Kravitz? Like, why did he send that plane in the first place? Is it, her uncle? I mean, this man seems like he's a bad guy, and he's ruthless. And if her mother was hooking up with R. Kelly, I mean, did she even really care about her in the first place either? So here's my email. If you guys have any other video ideas for me, let's go ahead and open this PO box.
I can't wait to get on his level to where my supporters start sending me stuff. Even letters would be dope. Anyways, that was it for his video. That was very interesting. He basically said what I've been saying. I'm not a good explainer. He's very professional with his stuff. I need to get on his level. I am trying to redecorate my room so that I can have a better professional setup. I'm trying to get everything set up. I'm trying to get a desk so that I can set you guys up and just have a professional setting, because right now this is just not professional at all. But I gotta do what I gotta do to continue my job, so bear with me. Like I said, he was basically saying the things that I say, just in a professional way. Everything he said I agree with 100%. He's onto something, I'm onto something. A lot of people are onto something. Aaliyah is in the middle, and then you have heaven. Aaliyah's stuck in the middle because she needs people to wake up. She needs people to understand why it happened that way and what it really was, which was a murder. Aaliyah wants us to know. That's why a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of things are coming out. People are exposing it. And like he said, I hope that most of these people don't die off before the truth gets revealed, because Aaliyah deserves justice. She just really does. And now I see why the Houghton family did not want anything to do with the industry, because it's just shady. This is why Diane won't put out a movie for Aaliyah. But anyways, that'll be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Stay crazy.
Do you remember that one night when we fell in love? What we had felt so right, 'cause we had trust. Now we're drowning in our lives. I know we're broken up, you know the feelings deep inside. So what? You, what we've been through.